Hey guys, Sam here, and welcome back to another FIFA 18 experiment. I haven't made a video in a couple days because I've been setting up this experiment. Once again, these draft videos take forever to actually make, so if you guys could smash a like on the video, we'll be doing another draft here today with the La Liga teams. We'll be randomly mixing these teams up and seeing what kind of concoctions we can make with these teams, what kind of combinations, where some of the big players are going to go. No more Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Valencia dominating the top four. No. Now we're gonna have a nice even spread. Ronaldo's gonna go somewhere, Messi's gonna go somewhere, Suarez well, maybe they'll go together, we don't know yet, but these teams are gonna get mixed up and we're gonna see what these teams look like. Then we're gonna simulate the La Liga and see who can carry their team to the La Liga title. If that interests you guys, leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new around here and you want to keep up to date. I'm thinking we could continue doing the drafts. It could be a good thing to do, but I don't know if you guys are really interested in Serie A or Bundesliga or Liga. Let me know in the comments below. But if you have any other ideas for FIFA 18 experiments, leave them in the comment section below. And if you see something down there that you would like to see, leave a like on that comment so I can see it much easier. But without further ado, let's take a look at the teams. Okay, so with each of the teams, we'll be taking a look at some of their key players. We're not going to run through the entire team, but we'll take a look at some of the key players. Athletic Bilbao, I have to say, have a very, very good looking team. You got Benzema, Gaetan, and Carrasco as a front three. You got Cruz and Paulinho in midfield, and Umtiti and Hugo Mayo as two of the defenders in the back four. There are some weak spots. The goalkeeper position is the main one. Taking a look at the bench, their defensive options aren't the best, but going forward, Bilbao are a very good looking team and I'm kind of interested to see how they do. In reserves, they have a couple options as well, but again, the defense is probably the weakest part of the team. Moving on to Atletico Madrid, and they have retained the services of Diego Godin, and they've also added quite a talent of players. Suarez, Asensio, Nacho Fernandez, and Mario Gaspar all joined the team. Ter Stegen is also there as well. So they've grabbed a couple of Real Madrid players, grabbed a couple of Barcelona players, and they're looking pretty good in that 4-4-2 that they love to play. Taking a look at the bench, you'll notice that the left back position is the main weakness. The starting left back, a 63 rated left back, and other than that, they have no more options. Moving on to the reserves, no one's special enough really to step into somebody else's shoes. I think they're really going to be relying on that starting 11, and with a 63 rated left back, Atletico Madrid could be having some problems despite the amount of talent they have in their team. Moving on to Leganes, and their team's pretty average. You got the likes of Diego Costa, Denis Suarez right behind him. In defense, PK and Dani Carvajal. They have some good options on the bench as well, with the likes of Willian Jose and Sansone on the bench, but really nothing too special. However, they do have quite a decent depth in the reserves. The lowest rated player in the entire squad, 62 rated there, Ruiz. He's the lowest rated player, so it's not bad. They can rotate and they could sort of deal with it if somebody's injured or somebody needs a rest. They can have players that could step up and do a job. Also, not to forget, Kovacic in the starting 11 in midfield could be a massive player for them. Deportivo Alaves has a very well-rounded starting 11. I actually like the look of it. They've got Pablo Piatti, they've got Garcia as a cam. Casemiro's there as well. The defense is pretty average. Asensio as the goalkeeper as well. On the bench, Adrian, Cholak, two decent options. Moya is a very good backup goalkeeper to have. And on the reserves, no one too weak as well. Not that I think they'll be calling upon any of their reserves. I don't mind Deportivo Alaves. That's a very well-rounded team. I like the look of them, and I'm expecting a top half finish. FC Barcelona, the team is so well-rounded. The defensive mid position is probably the one position that they're lacking. But Simon Zaz up front, Iñaki Williams on the left, Sarabia on the right, with Jonathan Vieira in the midfield, Garay and Mina are the two centre-backs, Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal as well. On the bench, a pretty strong bench. They don't really have a backup striker at all, but Amrabat can play striker. Januzaj is there. Cabral is an option. Jose Gaya as a left back option. I think the main problem with Barcelona is they don't have a star player. They don't have anybody above 85 rated that can really push this team, and I think that will be their major downfall. Taking a look at Getafe, Remy is up front with Saul behind him and Koke on the right. Two Atletico Madrid players coming together there to maybe form a bit of chemistry. Again, a very well-rounded team. Sydney, or I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm from Australia, so I just say Sydney, but I don't know if it's actually Sydney. Is in defense. Rui is the goalkeeper as well. On the bench, not too many options, to be honest with you guys. They will be relying on that starting 11. Again, on the reserves, maybe Hakimi's going to play some games at right back. I'm not sure. Other than that, they're going to be relying on their starting 11, which I think is pretty solid. Moving on to Girona, and they play a back five. Paco Alcacer is up front, Vitolo on the left, Fuego, Gomez and Guardado making up a midfield four. Their back five is pretty good as well. Versalico, however you pronounce that. I don't know how the randomizing has happened like this, but again, a very well-rounded starting 11. Their bench is pretty weak, to be honest. I think Juanmi and Montero are the only players that could really make an impact off the bench, and on the reserves, they've been shafted, to be honest with you. There's a lot of low-rated players there in their reserves. Levante have a nice-looking sort of front six, if you want to call it that. The midfield and the attack, I think, is really nice. Lucas Perez and Griezmann are the two strikers up front. Budebuz and Vasquez as the two, like, wide cams. They're not really wingers. And then Iniesta is going to be the forward-playing midfielder with Diego Llorente as the defensive midfielder. The back four looks okay as well. The goalkeeper's not the worst, and the bench is pretty good. Muniain can come and do a job. Sergi Darder can do a job. And even on the reserves, they've got options. Pizzini, Garcia, two very high-rated players. A couple of other teams would love to have those players on their bench. They only make the reserves at the Levante side, and I gotta be honest, this is probably one of the better looking sides so far. Moving on to Malaga, the Messiah is in Malaga. He's playing on the right wing there. Isco returning to Malaga, playing the cam position. The only reason Messi isn't playing the cam position is because Isco has to take that spot. In defense, they have Rafael Varane as well. They got the likes of Digne, Lucas Hernandez. I mean, the starting 11 looks very, very good. Keylor Navas in goal as well. I'd say the only thing they're lacking is a really top quality striker, but with Isco and Messi in the team, they don't need a quality striker because those two can link up, and Messi, I'm sure, is going to bag a lot of goals. Isco's going to probably be setting up a lot of goals. I think this team could be one of the favorites. You can never discount the Messiah. You always have to back him. I'm going to say Malaga's got to be a top 4 team. Moving on to Celta Vigo, and I think this is a very good-looking team. Gomez, Sisto, and Orellana are our front three. Hernandez and Garcia, two of the midfielders. Marcelo at left back. Ruben Semedo's in this team as well. Sillison in goal. The lowest rated starting 11 players are 77 rated. Okay, I obviously wasn't paying attention when building this team because Torres, Gabby, and Vasquez should all be in the starting 11, which makes that starting 11 look even better. They also have Adan as a backup goalkeeper. Sillison and Adan both 81 rated. And on the reserves, they got Casilla. Pico Casilla as another goalkeeper, but also some decent options for the midfield. Nothing too special, though, on the reserves. Deportivo La Coruña's team looks okay as well. Ruben Castro up front. They've got Correa and Prieto in the team. Coquelin defensive midfield. Paulista is there as well. The left back is a little bit weak. The goalkeeper's a little bit weak. On the bench, though, some good attacking options in Ben Yedder and Morales. But I'd say that left back and the goalkeeper position are really going to hinder them throughout the season. Espanyol's front two looks very good. Aduriz and Gamero, two experienced strikers. On the right, Gareth Bale in midfield, Kondogbia, Felipe Luis, and Murillo in... Felipe Luis, Murillo, and Semedo in defense with Lopez as the goalkeeper. On the bench, they've got another Lopez as the backup goalkeeper and some decent options going forward as well. And on the reserves, they've got options as well. Great defensive options. I don't see any reason why Espanyol can't be one of the best teams in the league, so I'm very interested to see how they do. Okay, Real Betis have a lot of good options. Rodrigo up front, Dembele on the right, Modric and Ieramendi in midfield as well. They've got a pretty okay defense. Maybe the fullbacks could be a little bit better, I don't know, but they've got Pacheco in goal. They've got a decently well-rounded bench. I mean, the goalkeeper position, again, is such a huge position in simulated games, and if Pacheco, something happens to him, they don't really have a goalkeeper to step up and do it at a La Liga standard, but their reserves are pretty well-rounded as well. Decent overalls for some of the reserves. Not sure if any of them are actually going to be getting any game time, but if they're needed, they can come and do a job as well. Again, for Real Betis, it comes down to the goalkeeper position. Okay, Real Madrid's team at first sight looks pretty good. Portul and Santi-Mina up front. Banega, Bruno, Nzonzi, and Parejo make up like a midfield four. Jordi Alba on the left, Sergio Roberto on the right, so a couple of Barca players coming in. And at first sight, you're like, okay, the Madrid side's not too bad, but then you look at the centre-backs and the goalkeeper and you think to yourself, they're fucked. Jordi Amat and Galvez as the centre-backs, and Champagne as the goalkeeper. They're going to have a bottle of champagne as the goalkeeper. I can't see Madrid doing anything. As good as the team is, that goalkeeper position is going to be a hindrance. If you take a look at the bench, Campbell, Boyan, Borges, Granero, they're okay players, but the goalkeeper position and the centre-back position, so important. And with that as well, they don't really have a quality striker either. And then the reserves, again, a bunch of midfielders, no quality striker, no quality goalkeeper, no quality centre-backs. Unfortunately for Madrid, I don't expect them to come last, but I just don't see them doing anything this season. Real Sociedad have Iago Aspas up front with Castillejo on the right, Vas and Trigueros in midfield. Moreno is in the defense as well. And overall, with your lowest rates of play being a 74 rated left back, it's not too terrible. The bench has some okay options, no real backup striker and no real backup goalkeeper. Again, could be a massive deal for Real Sociedad. And the reserves, no one of note really. None of those players are going to be playing. Eibar can boast the fact that they have Ronaldo and a lot of 80 plus rated players as well. Beñat, Deulofeu, Juanfran, Ruiz, De Marcos, and Sergio Rico, all above 80 rating. The lowest rated player is one of their strikers at 76 rated. But with Cristiano Ronaldo in your team, again, similar to Messi, you don't need that star striker up front because Ronaldo is going to bag you goals guaranteed. On the bench, I'd say the second choice centre-backs are probably the best thing about this bench, with Vallejo and Yeray as the two backup centre-backs. Again, the goalkeeper position, it is huge. I will keep talking about it until you guys get bored of it, but the goalkeeper position is huge, and they don't really have a backup goalkeeper. Sevilla's team, probably one of the weaker teams I've seen, especially the starting 11. Gomez and Roque Mesa, the only two players of note there. On the bench, it's not that much better, really. Miguel Layún and Johnny are probably the two best options there. On reserves, it's not that they have terrible players, it's just that they don't really have any good players. Las Palmas' team is probably one of my favorite ones to just look at. Muriel is up front, Rakitic and Busquets combined from Barcelona, Sergio Ramos in defense, and Jan Oblak in goal. I like this team. I'm going to just put it straight up. I like this team. It looks nice. Decent options. Good backup goalkeeper. Emenike, maybe if we were actually playing the games, would be pretty good. But they got really good midfield options, really good defensive options. And on the reserves, they got some players that can do jobs as well. Moving on to Valencia, the only team to play a back three. I guess Girona played a back five. This is like a out-and-out back three here. Bacca and Moreno up front. They've got Pedro Leon. They've got Savic. They've got Kaya or Kaya. Anyway, but taking a look at the bench real quick and the reserves as well, it's not that they have terrible players. It's just that they don't really have any really good players. And that's how I'd sum up Valencia as well. And last but certainly not least, it's Villarreal. The team is pretty well rounded. Philippe Coutinho is obviously the main man on the team. They've got Jimenez and Martinez as the two centre backs. A decent goalkeeper as well. Taking a look at the bench, the striker position could be a little bit stronger, but other than that, okay looking team. On the reserves, they got some good options as well. And without Coutinho, this team would, similar to Valencia, be just no good player. But with Coutinho in the team, I have to say the Villarreal are a good looking team. I don't expect too much from them, but I don't expect them to be anywhere near the bottom. So without further ado, let's take a look at what the season looks like halfway through, and we'll see which of these teams have gotten used to each other quicker. Okay, so halfway through the season, this is what the table looks like. The top four are split by 4 points, but at the top at the moment is Espanyol, of course, the team that was boasting Aduriz and Kevin Gamero up front, Bale on the right. They had Kondogbia, they had Felipe Luis, they had Murillo, they had Semedo, they had Diego Lopez. My god, they had a very good looking team, so I'm not surprised to see them up top. Girona played a back five. Their team didn't really look that good to me when I saw them. Not sure how they're doing so well. Maybe it is the back five, or maybe it's just the fact that they were an extremely well-rounded team. Malaga, of course, are the team with Messi. Barcelona, though, I'm a little bit surprised to see them second. Their best player was Garay and Jonathan Vieira at 83 rated. Those were their two best players. So, in terms of the bottom three, Sevilla, Valencia, and Real Madrid, well, okay, I said Real Madrid's team wasn't going to do well, and I told you you cannot have a bottle of champagne in your goal. I wasn't expecting them to be that bad, though. That is shocking. Look at, they've scored 16 goals in the season, and that's it. They're 2 points behind Valencia, 5 points away from safety. They're looking really, really bad. I wasn't expecting them to do that badly. It's like it's going to be one of these top 4 teams that go on to win it. All of them would have to mess up pretty badly for Las Palmas or Celta Vigo, Deportivo Alaves to really get into the title race. And I'm not saying that none of them are going to mess up. Maybe 1 or 2 are actually going to slip up, but surely it's going to be one of those top 4 to win it. So let's take a look at what the table looks like at the end of the season. And there it is. Wow. Clear winners. Malaga. They only lost 2 games in the second half of the season, and they win it by 17 points, of course. Malaga, the team with Leo Messi, and surely he was the difference maker. Look at the gap in the goal difference. Look at the gap in the goals scored. What a season from Malaga, especially the second half of the season. They scored 42 goals in the second half of the season. That's 42 goals in 19 games. Wow, head and shoulders best team in the league. And it had to be because of the Messiah Leo Messi, surely. Espanyol retained second place at the very least for them. Of course, the team with Gamero, Aduriz, and Gareth Bale. Deportivo Alaves, not really sure how they got third, to be honest. Their best player, I think, was Casemiro. If I can remember correctly, they didn't really have any great attackers. Las Palmas, I thought they could do something. They ended up coming fourth, with Atletico Madrid and Barcelona taking fifth and sixth, respectively. Down the bottom, Real Madrid's problems got worse and worse, and it ended up being a 10-point gap between themselves and Valencia. Sevilla were able to survive barely on goal difference. They got themselves out of the relegation zone, with Deportivo La Coruña suffering the relegation spot. Taking a look at the player statistics, the top goal scorer, not really surprising to me, is Leo Messi. 19 goals for Malaga. Diego Costa picked up 15 for Leganes. Suarez with 14 for Atletico Madrid. Griezmann with 14 for Levante. And taking a look at the top 15, one name really stands out. Not there is Cristiano Ronaldo. Really surprising. Even Gareth Bale is not there. Although at Espanyol, the goals would have been divided by Aduriz and Gamero and Bale. But with Ronaldo, I think he was really the only goal scorer, or only person that I thought would be a goal scorer. And it looks like he hasn't cut the mustard. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Last time we only went in depth with the league winners, but a lot of you said, let's just take a look at more of an in-depth look at everybody, or as many teams as possible. So I'm just going to go through now, and if anything strikes me as interesting, I'll show it to you guys. Starting with Athletic Bilbao, Benzema, a disappointing campaign for him, 6 goals and 3 assists in 32 games. For Atletico Madrid, they had a very good season, I thought. 14 goals and 5 assists for Luis Suarez in his 32 games. Stuani with 11 goals and 3 assists did his business as well in 38 games. Asensio chipping in with 8 goals in his 26 games. In terms of Leganes, of course, we took a look at Diego Costa, 15 goals. He also had 6 assists in his 37 games. What a campaign for him. Dennis Suarez did alright, 6 goals, 3 assists in 26 games. Levante, Antoine Griezmann, 14 goals, 8 assists in just 28 games. Really good stuff there from Antoine Griezmann. Moving on to Malaga, of course, it was the main man, Leo Messi. Only played 29 games, picked up 19 goals, 7 assists in 29 games. Directly involved in a goal 26 times in 29 games. He can hold his head up high. What a campaign from the Messiah. Isco did a little worse than I thought he would. Honestly, I thought he would chip in a little bit more with the assists, so 6 goals, 3 assists in 31 games. Not a terrible campaign in all honesty, especially when you have Messi, but you would expect a little bit better from Isco. Espanyol, like I said, I thought the goals would be split, and they were. Aduriz, Bale, Gamero, and Andreas Pereira all picking up 7 goals. Of course, the appearances were different though. Aduriz 28, Bale 32, Gamero 33, and Andreas Pereira all 38 games he played. He also picked up 6 assists to couple his 7 goals. Really good from him. Cristiano Ronaldo, taking a look at his campaign with 27 appearances, 6 goals, 6 assists. Not terrible for a normal player, but this is Cristiano Ronaldo. You're expecting a little bit more. It was actually Florin Andorna who stepped up. 13 goals, 4 assists in 37 games. Other than that, no one else did really anything special. That is it, guys. That is the end of today's experiment. Messi and Malaga win. And this is the first time I've done an experiment, if I can remember, where Messi's actually performed really well. Usually Messi doesn't perform well, and a lot of people were making conspiracies about it that because Barca and Messi aren't signed with EA anymore, and it's Ronaldo now, that Ronaldo and Madrid were the love child, and they would also always get the best simulated results. But obviously this experiment shows that Messi still has something, and carried Malaga to a La Liga title, guys. So if you did enjoy, please do leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. These take a long time to do, guys. Like, these takes a couple of days to actually fully randomize everything, and it's a real process, to be honest with you guys. So I apologize for not uploading in a while. I wanted to get this out sooner, but this was the earliest I could get up for you guys. So yeah, please just leave a like for the effort, really, more than anything. It really does mean a lot. But that is all, guys. I'm sure this video is already long enough. I don't want to waste any more of your guys' time. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you did enjoy today's video. I hope you had a good day. I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Keep it real.